So we are starting with Dhyana Yoga. This is chapter 6. It's about the meditation, how we can control the mind. Those people who are interested in the mind control, this chapter is actually dealing with that. So we will understand there. So chapter 6, it's titled Dhyana Yoga and Yoga of Meditation also it is called in English. It is rich and lot of valuable tips. Why is it rich? Because it has a lot of valuable tips and how we can, everyone has thoughts, right? There are so many thoughts going on, so many feelings we keep getting, but mind keeps bombarding us with that. So many thoughts every second, even while you are sitting in this class. I am sure 99% of the people, sorry to say, but your mind has gone elsewhere. Okay, I have to do this after this, or I haven't done this. I'm sitting in the class, but mind is elsewhere. So, how we can refine the thoughts and our feelings is what this chapter deals with actually. And let's see what is the connection, how chapter 5, chapter 6, they are connected as such. Because in chapter 5, if we remember, we had seen the trailer, right? Trailer of Ashtanga Yoga in shloka number, I think 27, 28. That those shlokas were there where Krishna was summarizing about the Ashtanga Yoga, or he was showing a trailer about Ashtanga Yoga. Chapter 6 is the movie now. So, and where he was saying, right? Sparshan Kritva Bahir Bahyan. He said that in that shloka, right? How that shloka started, where Lord was telling that you have to shut out all the external sense objects. Don't look anywhere. Completely bring the focus in between your eyebrows and focus over here. That all trailer he was showing, right? All that things he was telling about breathing. Also, he was telling how you should take prana pana samayuttam, right? That prana pana, you have to, how you have to breathe also. So suddenly when Nishkam's karma section was going on, Krishna suddenly was talking about Ashtanga Yoga in 27 and 28. Actually, Nishkam Karma Yoga and all that was flowing down in chapter 5. Suddenly 27, 28 came to be about Ashtanga Yoga. Basically, Krishna tried telling Arjun that, you can get liberation by, a person can get liberation if you practice Nishkam Karma Yoga. So he was trying to tell that we can also get the same result if we practice Ashtanga Yoga. That is what he was trying to tell. That is why he gave that small trailer. That's what he wants to put forward to Arjuna. And now in this chapter, what Lord Krishna will do, he will elaborate about this meditation thing, eightfold meditation. So he will explain to us in detail what Dhyana Yoga is, how we can understand this chapter, completely. How about Yama, Niyama, Pranayama, all that, all those eightfold meditation points will be discussed at this. And at some point, what will happen is Arjuna will say, sorry, Krishna, I can't. You are telling me all this, but my mind doesn't, get focused for even a second. Same thing happens to us. Same thing Arjuna also said. Maybe he told for us only. Chanchalam Himana Krishna Pramati Balavadruda. It's very chanchal. Krishna, I can't. Don't tell me all this. I can't. It's very difficult. I may be able to control the wind, but I cannot control my mind, Krishna, he says in chapter 6. In this chapter only it will come. I don't know. I don't remember the verse number, maybe 35, 36. I can't remember. So, and Lord Krishna will assure him. He'll say, oh, don't worry, I'm giving the tips for this yoga of meditation or Dhyana Yoga. Then it will, this chapter explains to us how we have so many weaknesses, right? So many flaws, so many weaknesses. So this chapter is going to explain to us how we can overcome our weakness, how we can become more positive in our life. Most of the time, so many people you encounter, they're negative in their thought. So this chapter kind of tells us how we can become more positive, grow up to be more healthier, stronger. We can have that complete integrated personality we can develop if we understand this. But there is always a but. Everywhere Krishna will put a condition. The condition here is you have to control. So the control has to be there over the body, the mind, the senses, the intellect, you name it. Lord Krishna has mentioned it. And he says it is extremely necessary if you have to go into Dhyana Yoga. That is why Srila Prabhupada says, because we are all into bhakti. So let us do all devotional service, because like Arjuna, we also cannot, control our mind. Then how the bhakti yoga or the devotional service is easier. Srila Prabhupada says it's easier to practice than Ashtanga yoga. That's what we will understand. So let's move on to chapter 6 now. This is the summary, what all we are going to cover. Section 1, 6.1 to 4, how we advance in yoga through detached work. Then section 2 will be dealing with yoga rudha stage, which is like higher stage, where we can even give up work. We have reached that stage. So section 3 deals with how we can practice that yoga rudha stage and all the yoga. And 4 will tell us how important it is to control our mind, which is turbulent, chanchalam. And section 5 deals with, suppose a yogi is doing Ashtanga yoga, okay, but he is not able to finish it in this life and he dies. What happens to him? That's what they're going to deal with. Section 6 will deal with who is the topmost yogi, which Krishna will declare. So that's what we will learn. Then section 1, 1 to 4, advancing in yoga through detached work. Ashtanga yogis like Nishkam Karma yogis engage in detached work to advance, because they don't want to get into this material stuff and get their mind engaged in that. They want to be away from all this. So it's like renunciation. They want to get away and action. It's one for them. Why should I invest my time in meditation? We may get that question. Because we should invest our time in meditation. The reason here given is uncontrolled mind. What does it do? What does it do to us? It gives us, sometimes we are so into that, we have become so stressful. When we are not having mind, the thoughts are, bombarding us. The moment the thoughts are bombarding us, we become very stressful, lot of tension, we lose our confidence, trust, everything. The result becomes, what? We start, lamenting, we become very angry. The moment we are very angry, we do all kinds of violence, all the violence that is happening in this world. Why do you think? It is because of the uncontrolled mind. Had they controlled their mind, the violence would not happen. All this terrorism won't happen. All this, now it's happening on the Israeli thing, Gaza, hatred, it won't happen basically. Control, mind is not controlled. We are always running after something or the other, and we are lamenting after something or the other. Ego plays a very big factor here. Let's move on. 6.1. Those who are interested in reading the translation can raise their digital hand. And Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Anashritah Karma Phalam Karyam Karma Karoti Yaha Sasannyasi Cha Yogi Cha Na Niragnir Na Chakriyah. Yes. Anyone who wants to read? Yes, please. Krishna Prasad Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, one who is unattached to the fruits of his work and who works as he is obligated is in the renounced order of life, and he is the true mystic, not he who lights no fire and performs no duty. Hare Krishna.
You can read the portion which is there also, Prabhuji.
Where, madam? The purport, you mean?
No, I mean there is something in yellow also, right? You can read that.
Okay.
Before
practicing advanced stages of Ashtanga Yoga, one must be purified by the practice of Nishkama Karma Yoga. Therefore, Lord Krishna glorifies Nishkama Karma Yoga in first 2 verses.
I think now, devotees, you must have understood why Lord Krishna is trying to glorify Nishkam Karma Yoga in the first 2 verses. Because you need to have a purified mind even before you start Ashtanga Yoga. Without purified mind, you cannot even start. That is why first you need to practice Nishkam Karma Yoga. That is why Lord Krishna is glorifying Nishkam Karma Yoga in the first 2 senses. What is he saying? Sri Bhagavan Vacha. So Lord Krishna says, Anashrita karma phalam. Unashrita, one who does not take the shelter, or you can say one who is detached. You have to become detached. Detached from what? What we have to become detached from? Karma phala. Karma phala means the result of our phal, or result of our work. So the moment we become detached from the result of our work, what will happen? Karyam karma karoti yaha. Means whatever we are performing, whatever work we are doing, whatever duty we are doing, it becomes as obligatory. We are just doing it for the sake of doing. Saha. So who will Saha means he. So he will be called what? Sannyasi. Sa sannyasi. He will be called sannyasi. Yeah, sannyasi. Means what? Sannyasi means what? Who has renounced, who has left everything, right? He can also be called yogi. Sa sannyasi, cha yogi. Cha means and. So he will be called sannyasi who has renounced everything, and that person can also be called a yogi also. That's what Lord Krishna says. So these are called mystics also. And what else he says? Na niragnir. Na niragnir means nir agni. Agni means fire. So they the ones who do not lit the fire. Na chakriya. Kriya means work. They do not do any work basically, or duty, you can say. So basically what Lord Krishna is trying to explain to us here is people, those people who cannot, those people cannot be called sannyasis, or even the true yogis who are not doing the prescribed duties. First step is do Nishkam Karma Yoga. That's what Lord Krishna is glorifying. Here he says, you can't just straight away say, get up one fine day from the bed and say, okay, bye people, I'm becoming a sannyasi. Because that's not what Lord Krishna is asking us to do. He says, first you do your prescribed duties, do Nishkam Karma Yoga. Once you come to that point where you're really renounced internally, that's when you can take up sannyas. That's the point that Lord Krishna is trying to make over here. So who are the true yogis? Who are the true sannyasis? Lot of confusion, right? We keep getting who. Then what does Lord Krishna is trying to tell? Lord Krishna is telling very simple. Externally, you want to wear a saffron robe and hold a kamandal and something like that, put a big tilak and big everything, big hair and everything, and say, I'm a sannyasi. No, that will not make anybody a sannyasi or a yogi, is what Lord Krishna is telling over here. Only and only those who can renounce the fruits of their action, first of all, number one, and offer that result to God, number two, they are called true renunciants, like Janak Maharaj. He was ruling. Externally, he was a king, but internally, he was renounced. He was a true yogi. He was a true sannyasi. So even we can do, as householders, we can also become renunciants, but from internal. Internally, we can become. Externally, we have to go to office, we have to work, we have different household duties. That's Lord Krishna is what is that? That is what Lord Krishna is telling us. So it also follows yogi's mind, because yogi's mind, what happens? Naturally gets detached from the world. That is why a true yogi is called a true sannyasi. That is why Lord Krishna says, sa sannyasi cha yogi cha, means both are same, because yogi's mind also gets detached from this material world. That's what Lord Krishna is telling. So we know sa sannyasi cha yogi means what, right? So for people who are doing like karma yoga, we are all doing karma yoga, right? We are doing all activities, all our jobs, everything, but we are offering everything in the spirit of, we are doing in humble service of the God, you can say. We are not having any desire. We are not trying to ask him anything. We are not asking for rewards. See, we are grihasthas. We are living with a family. Such persons who are not asking for any reward and they are renounced inside, they are true yogis. They are real renunciants. So now from shloka number 2, what Lord Krishna is going to do is he's going to compare the sannyas and the yoga, and he's going to tell us in detail. He will go deeper into it as to what these two are, right? So let's move on to shloka number 2. Yam sanyasamiti prahu yogam tam vidhi pandava nahya sanyastat sankalpaha yogi bhavati kashchana. Yes, please. Krishna Prasad ji. Prabhuji, do you want to read again or? Okay, Swapnil Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
What is called renunciation you should know to be the same as yoga, or linking oneself with the Supreme, O son of Pandu. For one can never become a yogi unless he renounces the desire for sense gratification. Or Bhakti yoga
Dhyana
to
yoga
become
cannot
attached.
be achieved without renouncing thoughts. Both lead to renunciation of sense gratification. Just see that. Both lead. So what is called renunciation? Lord Krishna is talking about the difference and the relation of sannyas and yoga. Yam sannyasam iti prahuhu means what they call as renunciation. What is sannyas? That is what Lord Krishna is trying to explain. Yam sannyasam iti prahuhu. What is sannyas? O Pandava. Pandava is Lord, son of Pandu, Arjuna. So, O Arjuna, you should know this. You should know. What you should know? Yogam tam vidhi. You should know the yogam tam vidhi. You should know that it is same as yoga. And yoga actually means what? What is yoga? Yoga means connecting ourselves to God. That is what is yoga. So that's what Lord Krishna is trying to tell. Arjuna, understand. What is yoga? Yoga means connect to God. So yogam tam vidhi. It is like yoga only. So we are connecting ourselves to God. Then Lord says, nahi yogi bhavati kashtana. Nahi yogi bhavati kashtana means what over here? For one, nahi means one who cannot become a yogi. For sure. Or for, let's say for surely he is not able to become. What's the condition if he is not able to become? Asanyasta sankalpa. Asanyasta sankalpa means what? Without he cannot become a yogi if he is not able to give up the desire. You have to give up the desire, right? You have, without giving up the desire, how can you become anything? So that is what Lord Krishna is trying to make. Yam sannyasam prahu. So who is the sannyasa? Who is able to give up the desire? Without giving desire for self-satisfaction, you cannot become a yogi. So sannyasi and the yogi, there is not much difference. Lord Krishna says there is not much, they're actually the same. That's what Lord Krishna says over here. So what is sannyas? Sannyas means he is giving up the result of the fruitive action. Okay, that much is clear. Then who is yogi? He is not at all interested only. Okay, let me put it this way. His mind is not at all dwelling on the sense objects. Mind is only not going. Yogi means he is not only, his mind itself is disinterested. Sannyasi, he is giving up the results of his own. He is renouncing everything. But yogi, mind only is not going over there. See, if we properly analyze this, both are same. Both are talking about not having any kind of sense gratification, right? Both are not going for material pleasure or anything like that. So we should all try to avoid sense gratification. Whatever we do for Krishna, if we keep Krishna in the center, it is fine. The moment we start thinking about ourselves, that is sense gratification. So the one who is avoiding sense gratification is to be a sannyasi or a yogi. So in the first line of this verse, what Lord Krishna states is a real sannyasi, a renunciate, one who is a yogi, one who is a yogi means one who is in the yoga, connecting, united with God, in the loving service of the God. That he's talking about sannyas and the yogi. Then again, Lord Krishna is stating that one cannot be a yogi if you do not, if you're not going to give up the material desire. You have to give up the material desire to become a yogi. Very, very clear about that, right? So if there are material desires in our mind, what will happen? We'll be running into this world only. Because this mind, it has to be united to God. All the time we have to keep thinking. So all the time we have to keep our mind engaged in something that is related to Krishna or related to God. And this is only possible if the mind is free from material desires. If the material desire is coming into our mind all the time, then it's not easy to engage our mind towards this, right? So to be a yogi or to be a sannyasi from within, it's not easy. You have to completely get away from sense gratification. So in fifth chapter also, Lord had explained, right, that there are two kinds of renunciation. He called it like Phalgu Vairagya. Phalgu Vairagya and Yukta Vairagya. Phalgu was like waste, right? Waste Vairagya, where, they just don't want to touch. Oh, I don't want to touch money. But when it is Yukta Vairagya, they'll say, okay, I will use this money in service of Krishna. I'll make a temple for Krishna, or I will make a deity. I'll put the deity of Krishna in the temple. or I'll make a marble floor for Krishna, or I will buy prasadam for Krishna, whatever. So, Yukta Vairagya, Phalgu Vairagya. Phalgu Vairagya is they outside, externally, they want to renounce everything. But that's not what Lord Krishna is trying to tell us, right? So now Lord Krishna is going to get into this levels of Ashtanga Yoga. Now, after telling all this, Nishkam Karma Yoga and all this, from 6.3 onwards, he is going to talk about the 2 levels of Ashtanga Yoga. So Bhakti Yoga is what? We become attached to Krishna and we work for Krishna. So automatically our mind and senses are engaged in the loving service of Krishna. Ashtanga Yoga means what? We have to give up the attachment for the fruits of work. And then we have to, it's our own effort. We have to control our mind, control our senses, control everything from within. Not that easy. That's what Arjuna says later on. 6.3. Arurukshormuner yogam karmakarah muchyate yogarudasya tasyaiva shamah karana muchyate. Anybody else wants to read?
Mataji, sloka number 2, one small doubt, Mataji. Asanyasta sankalpaha. Exactly what is meant by this?
Yes, sorry, forget Prabhuji.
Ek minute. This sloka number 2.
Yeah. Means
asanyasta sankalpaha.
sankalpa
Exactly.
means desire. Inside you have some desires, right? Unless and until that sannyasa removes that material desire from his mind, he cannot become a yogi. Now, yes, sannyasa sankalpa, that sankalpa of the material desire, unless and until he removes it, then he cannot become yogi. Yogi bhavati karma. He cannot become a yogi.
It means
yogi
desire only.
Are clear, same, Prabhuji. But nahi sanyasta sankalpa, unless and until that sankalpa of removing that material desire doesn't take place, he cannot become a yogi.
Okay, Mataji, thank
you. Okay. I will read this then. The process of linking oneself with the Supreme is called yoga, which may be compared to a ladder for attaining the topmost spiritual realization. This ladder begins from the lowest material condition of the living entity and rises up to the perfect self-realization in pure spiritual life. This is a brilliant thing. You have like step ladders, as you can see in the picture here. The ladder is going. We start from the basic thing. So Lord Krishna is going to describe these 2 levels of Ashtanga Yoga. So what is Lord Krishna telling over here? Aru Rukshor Muner Yogam. Aru Ruksho. Aru Ruksho means he's a beginner, neophyte. In what? In this Ashtanga Yoga. Ashtanga Yoga means 8-fold yoga system, which we did in level 1 also, right? Then Aru Rukshor Muner Yoga means a neophyte or a beginner. It's called Aru Ruksho. So Aruksha means somebody who is very beginner, very neophyte, very new. What will happen? Karma karana muchyate. So it is said for a beginner, what happens? Work is important. Karma is important. Karma karana muchyate means it is uchit. It is uchit means it is good for him, for a beginner to start with work. Karma karo. Work is said to be the means for elevation. If you want to elevate in this yoga system, start doing your work first. Don't avoid work. Straight away, you can't say, I will become a sannyas. So, Aru Ruksho, in that beginner, Aru Ruksho is a beginner stage. If you want to do yoga, then start with karma. That's what Lord Krishna is telling. And the second line is this, yoga rudhasya tasyaiva. The first level is yoga, right? Second is Aru Ruksho. First level is Aru Ruksho, which is a beginner level. And second level is yoga arudho. Yoga Rudha, you can say, Yoga Arudha also you can say. Yoga Rudha is basically one who has attained the higher rung. You have the lower step and you have the higher step. So Yoga Rudha has gone to the higher step. Yoga Ruruksho is in the lower stage, in the step ladder, in the yoga ladder. So Shamah Karanam Uchyate means for him, he can cease, he can stop all the material activities. That is how he can elevate himself. Because he's already on that higher stage where he has purified his mind. So he can stop all this karma and all these activities and he can move on in his yoga meditation. That is what Lord Krishna is telling. Aru Ruksha has to do the karma. If he is in the yoga Rudha stage, then he can leave the karma and he can move on to he can stop Kshama Karanamuchi. He can stop the material activities. That's what Lord Krishna is trying to explain. He recommends this to Arjuna. He's saying you can follow this path also, Arjuna. So see, again in chapter 5, in I think verse number 2, Krishna had declared it to be the better path, right? He said, follow the path of action. Keep doing karma, karma, karma. Every time he had told that. So does this mean that we must keep doing work all our life? Then we will not leave anything. So that is why the Lord Krishna, he understood that we can get this kind of question in our mind. So Lord Krishna is setting the limits for it. What is the limit? He says, see, first you have to perform karma yoga. What will happen if we do karma yoga? We are renouncing the results. Slowly, our mind becomes purified because we are not aiming for anything. We are not asking for rewards. Automatically, our mind will become pure. And we are slowly moving towards spiritual knowledge. But see, once the mind is purified, we are advancing in yoga. Then slowly we can move the karma yoga. Beginner has to do karma. That's what Lord Krishna is telling over here. Then once we are moving in the step ladder, then we can leave the karma yoga and we can slowly take karma sannyas. So next, eligibility. What is the eligibility Lord Krishna is telling? He says those who want to go through this channel, where there are various channels. So if you want to go through this yoga channel, path of karma yoga is more suitable. And those who have elevated, you are doing a lot of meditation, you have elevated yourself, you have purified your mind, then for them, path of karma sannyas is more suitable. So for Aruruksha stage, do the karma yoga, and for yoga rudha stage, you can become a karma sannyas. That's what Lord Krishna is trying to tell. So yoga means what? It refers to both. The goal is also connecting to God, right? And the process also, we have to keep connecting to God. The process is also yoga. The goal is also yoga. We want to connect to God. So yoga aruksha stage, they are those sadhakas. They are aspiring to become united to God. Aspiring is different than reaching. And they have just begun. You can imagine we want to climb Mount Everest. We have just begun climbing the ladder. And yoga arudha stage is what? Those who have elevated, they're gone above. You can see them on the top over there. Not 100% top, maybe they're already elevated on that ladder. So we need to see that spiritual ladder which helps us in our development, how we can move on. Let's see that. See, step 0 is karma kanda, sakarm karma. We want everything. We will do all Devi Devata pujas. मुझे ये दे दो, मुझे दे दो, गाड़ी दे दो, promotion दे दो, son, daughter, everything. Putra kamashti yajna, everything. That is karma kanda. Then step 1 will go on to karma yoga. Then nishkam karma, we are renouncing the fruits of our labor. Step 2, jnana yoga, we are getting not only renouncing, we are getting the knowledge also. Then next we are moving on to ashtanga yoga, 8-fold path. We are meditating on super soul here, focusing over here and doing all the meditation. And then step 4, we are moving on to, that is the final bhakti yoga. So that's where we do our devotional service to Lord Krishna. So how do we understand that when one is elevated on that path of yoga, that yoga arudha stage is there, right? Yoga arudha stage. How we understand that he is elevated there? How do we know? So Lord Krishna will explain how we will come to know that, okay, he is yoga arudha stage. Oh, wow. How will we come to know? So let's see that. Yada hinendriyartheshu na karmasvanushajyate sarva sankalpa sannyasi yogarudastadochyate. Yes, Pravina Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. A person is said to be elevated in yoga when, having renounced all material desires, he neither acts for sense gratification nor engages in fruity activities. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, thank you. Sense control. Sense control must accompany meditative efforts. So both are important, right? So far we have seen 2 levels of Ashtanga Yoga. First level is what? Yoga Ruksho, where a person is a beginner, he is a neophyte, he's trying to do various activities, and at the same time he's trying to follow the various regulative principles of Ashtanga Yoga. Okay, this is the beginner stage. That much we have understood. Then what will happen? Why is he doing that? To purify the heart. So once he's purifying the heart, that is called Yoga Aruksho stage. He's purifying. He's in that state process. Now, let's say the heart is purified. So if heart is purified, what happens? He moves on to the next level. Like in the school also, when they are studying, he's got the report card, he's got above 70%, whatever, he's moving on to the next level. Similarly, he's got his heart is purified, he's moving on to the next level, which is with level of stage of meditation. This is all the stages of meditation. And that stage is called Yoga Rudha stage, means he's got better stage now, elevated stage. So we have to understand, let's try and understand what are the symptoms of a person who is in the Yoga Arudha stage. So what Lord Krishna is telling over here is Yoga Rudhasta Dochete. Yoga Arudha Uchete, if you break it up. So person is said to be Yoga Arudha stage or elevated stage in Ashtanga Yoga. When means Yada. When is he in that stage? Lord Krishna is going to tell us. Sarva Sankalpa Sannyasi. Sarva Sankalpa Sannyasi, or a person. In the previous shloka also we got that Sankalpa word. Here also Lord Krishna is saying Sarva Sankalpa Sannyasi. A sannyasi or a person who has renounced all. Sarva, all means Sarva. Sankalpa, the Sankalpa to renounce all material desires. He has got that Sankalpa. Oh, I am not going to engage in any material desire. Sarva Sankalpa Sannyasi. So when does he reach the Yoga Rudha stage? When means Yada Sarva Sankalpa Sannyasi, when he has renounced all the material desires. That is the first thing. Second, Na Indriya Teshu. Na Indriya Teshu. Yada hi Nindriya Na Indriya Teshu. Na Indriya means what? He does not want to indulge in any sense objects or Indriyas. He does not want to indulge in that. That's the second point. So how do you know he's in Yoga Rudha stage? He is not having any these material desires. He is not getting into that. He is not indulging himself in any sense gratification. Right? Third, Na Karma Swanu Shajjat. Na Karma. He is not interested in any fruitive activities. He is not interested in karma. He is not having. These are the symptoms. 3 symptoms we have just seen. If the person who is in Yoga Rudha stage, Lord Krishna says, when is he in Yoga Rudha stage? Yada, when he is Sarva Sankalpa Sannyas, he has lost all the material desires, he is completely in that. Then Na Indriya Teshu is not involving into sense gratification. And Na Karma Swanu. All na. When he is not doing any karma. So he is into that stage. That person is called to be in Yoga Rudha stage. So what are those? The first, does not have any material desire. Second, he is not interested to do any activity for sense gratification. Third, he is not interested in any fruitive activities to get some particular result. I will do this activity, then I will get this result. No, he is not interested. Why? His heart is purified. Is followed from Yoga Rurukshu stage, right? From beginner stage. Now he is in Yoga Rudha stage. He doesn't know. His mind is purified now. So this person's heart is purified and he is in Yoga Rudha stage. That is why he is displaying these symptoms. Lord Krishna is telling us the symptoms. And as the mind becomes more and more engaged in devotional service in God, towards God in yoga, naturally what happens? The taste is gone. When you get higher taste, you lose the lower taste, right? So it naturally gets away from the world, detached from the world. So to check, if you want to check where our state of mind is, what do we have to see? We have to see if we have become free from all kinds of material desires. If we are still having these material desires, we are still here only, not in Yoga Rudha stage. We can test ourselves. So we don't have to tell anyone. So person will be considered detached from the world when he's not craving. He's not craving for sense objects. I want this, I want that. Ye bhi hota to acha hota. He's not inclined to do any kind of action also to attain that thing. If I do this, I will get that. So he's not trying to work hard or trying to get promotion. If I work this hard, If I go and talk to my boss, I will do this, tell him all my, show my file, then I'll get promotion. He's not inclined towards that. Mind no longer is running towards that. Mind is not gushing towards self-centered activities. And it's not running after the urges of the senses. The sense, he is away from all that. So when we can achieve that level of mastery over this mind is our friend or an enemy. We'll come to that also. We will be elevated in that view, right? So let's see Yoga Rudha stage. In short, we will see some. Let's see that. See, Yoga Rudha stage, giving up work. So a yogi may even give up Nishkam Karma Yoga when his mental control reaches the stage of regarding well-wishers, envious, pious sinners equally. He is not bothered. So that is section 2 we are entering into. So let's see that. Yoga Rudha stage. This is the beginner. Beginner means he must work. He should not stop work. Why? Because he is not yet pure. He is not yet detached. He is not yet advanced. So he is cultivating, still practicing detachment from all the results. Practices part-time asana and perhaps maybe pranayama while he is doing his karma yoga. This is yoga rurukshu stage or a neophyte stage. Yoga rudha, that is the advanced stage that we were talking about. He is not wanting any sense gratification. He is not engaging in any karma, fruitive activity. He has renounced all the material desires. So he is permitted. For such a stage, you are permitted to quit prescribed duties. Then you can take up, you don't have to worry about prescribed duties. Nishkam Karma Yoga can be given up at this stage, not at the beginner stage. Then he's practicing full-time yoga because he has got a lot of knowledge now. He knows what he is doing. So that is why. So after telling about all the symptoms, Lord is telling why this person is, the person who is in yoga arudha stage, why he should be away from sense gratification. Lord Krishna is going to explain to us why he shouldn't get attached to sense objects. Lord will tell us now why he should not do it. Uddharedatmanatmanam natmanam avasadayet atmaiva yatmano bandhu atmaiva ripuratmanah. Yes, Pratima Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Sorry, I'm late. One must deliver himself with the help of his mind and not degrade himself. The mind is a friend of the conditioned soul and his enemy as well.
Hare Krishna. See
Hare Krishna.
what our mind does. It tricks us like anything. So after understanding the two levels of yoga, that is the yoga rurukshu stage, which is the beginner stage, and yoga rudha stage, which is the above stage, advanced stage, and understanding person's symptoms, who is in yoga rudha stage, that is the advanced stage, we have to understand why should the person be away from sense objects and what are the other symptoms. Okay, so what Lord Krishna is trying to tell us here, uddharet. Uddharet means one must deliver. Deliver what? Atmana atmanam. Atmana atmanam. Atmana here is one must deliver oneself. Atmanam. We have to deliver oneself. With what? With the help of the mind. Atmana. Atmana here is mind. And na atmanam avasadye. Na atman avasadaye. Means one should not degrade. Na atma. Atma means the mind should not avasadye. It means degrade. That should not go down. We should try to go up, not go down. One should not degrade themselves. Atma, atmaiva yatmano bandhu. Why we should not degrade? Because atma or the mind is actually our bandhu. It's our friend. So we should not bring it down. The mind has to be elevated, not go down. That's what Lord Krishna is saying. Uddharet, we should deliver the mind and the soul, the mind, everything has to be delivered with the help of mind. Our soul must be delivered by the mind. Should elevate up. So, uddharet atma atmanam. So Udharet, we have to go up, deliver. One must deliver oneself with the help of the mind. Na atma avasadayet. We should not, atma, we should not bring it down. Mind, we should not bring it down. We should not degrade ourselves. Why? Atmaiva yat mano bandhuhu. It is our bandhu. It is actually our bandhu. It is our friend of our soul, conditioned soul. But then what happens? Atmaiva ripur atmana. Atma, the mind, is also the enemy. Ripu here means enemy. So bandhu means friend. Ripu means enemy. It is our friend. Actually, it is our friend. So don't degrade yourself. Try to elevate your mind. But then what happens? Atma, the mind, is the enemy also of the conditioned soul. It is friend also and enemy also. So here, mind is called as Atma. Atma actually means soul, right? So why is Atma called mind here? See, what happens in Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna has used this word Atma for 3 different entities. If you notice that. Sometimes even body is called Atma. Sometimes mind is called Atma. Sometimes soul is called Atma. So based on the context, Lord Krishna is using the word Atma over here. Atma basically is a very, very, very important entity. So whenever Lord Krishna wants to point towards a very, very important entity, and let's say he is pointing towards the body, then he will call the body as Atma. Suppose he is pointing towards the soul, he is calling it soul, the Atma. So in this particular shloka here, Lord Krishna is pointing towards the mind as the very important entity. And that is why mind here is called Atma. But meaning of Atma basically means soul only. That is clear. So in order to be able to use this mind as a friend, it is important to understand what is our mind's nature. Our mind, it works at 4 levels. I call it mice, just to remember. Mice, chuha, mouse, mice. So first is mind. When it creates thoughts, it's called mana or mind, right? Then I. With I, we call it intellect. When the mind is analyzing and deciding, we call it buddhi or intellect, right? First, we get thought. Then we have to decide something, analyze. I've got this thought. Is it right? Is it wrong? Should we decide? Should we not decide? So intellect is we are using. So mind, intellect. Then chitta. Chitta means it is getting attached to an object or a person or whatever. We got a thought, we analyzed, we decided that the thought gets attached to something, it is chitta, we call it chitta, and then next comes ego. Now what happens? We start identifying with bodily identifications. We become very proud of our stuff. I have got this wealth. I have got this promotion. I have got this status. I have got, beauty. I'm a PhD, whatever. Ahankar, ego. So mind, intellect, chitta, and ego. So I call it mice. So they are not 4 separate entities or anything. They are 4 levels where the mind is one. Mind is one only. It is functioning at 4 levels. First, the thought is coming in the mind. Then the intellect is deciding, analyzing everything. Then chitta, it is getting attached to something. And the ego is saying, yeah, it's mine. I am wealthy. I am this, I am that. So we may refer all together as mind. Mind, intellect, ego, mind, intellect, chitta, ego, we can say, right? Mice. To remember. So see, we are responsible for our own actions. We are responsible for our own elevation. We are responsible for our own downfall. No one can be blamed. Please do not blame anyone from today onwards. Whatever we are doing, it is our mind that is playing the game. So nobody can walk on the path of God realization for us. No one can do that. Only we can do. Saints are there, gurus are there. They can show us the way. But we have to walk. We have to travel it ourselves. We cannot blame anybody for anything that is happening in our life. So how this can be done is explained in detail. In chapter 2, it was explained to us. Then chapter 3 was also talking about mind. I don't remember the shlokas. But there was in chapter 3, they were talking about mind, the intellect as being 2 things, how we must use our mind to elevate ourselves, and all that was spoken there. Then when Lord Krishna says that we must use intellect to control the mind, right? We learned in chapter 2 how the boss shouts at the manager, the manager shouts at the supervisor, supervisor shouts at the worker, worker goes home and shouts at the wife, wife shouts at the child. Their intellect is telling, don't shout at the boss, otherwise I'll lose my job. Right? So intellect can control the mind was the proof over there. Then Lord Krishna is telling how important it is we should surrender to God. Both mind and intellect should be surrendered to God. So now Lord Krishna is going to continue on the same theme. He's going to call the mind our friend and bandhu and enemy also. Let's see sixth shloka. Bandhura atma atmanastasya yenatmaiva atmanajitah anatmanastu shatrutve vartetatmaiva shatruvat. Okay. Triveni Mataji, would you like to read?
Hare Krishna Mataji. For him who has conquered the mind is the best of friends. But for one who has failed to do so, his mind will remain the greatest enemy. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. So why Dhyana Yoga? Because the lower self can be our best friend or worst enemy, says Gita. So idea of friendship and enmity has been clarified over here. Because it's all mind's game. Simple. It's very simple. In Bhagavad Gita, it is so clearly told. Lord Krishna is continuing the same theme of the mind. That mind can be our friend, mind can be our enemy. Right? So when does the mind become our friend? And when does it become our enemy? Where Lord Krishna is saying, Bandhuratmat manastasya yenat mevat manajitaha. Jitaha means will. So here it is said that basically, for those who have controlled the mind, control the mind or conquered it, jitaha. Jita means will. Who have controlled, who have won, whatever. There for them, bandhu. It will become a bandhu, means friend. Anat manastu shatrutve vartetat meva shatruvat. So two means but. So but who has failed to control the mind, then what will happen? His mind will become shatru. Otherwise it will become bandhu. Those who have jitaha the mind, bandhu. Those who have not able to jitaha the mind, shatru. Simple. So when mind is our friend, if the moment you are peaceful, you have to understand that your mind is under control and it is your friend that time. The moment somebody says something and you start thinking and scolding and all, mind has gone out of control, the mind has become your enemy. It is you only. You can't tell about anybody else. For example, you're driving the car. You're driving, you're holding, you're focusing, you're holding the steering wheel completely, full control. And everything else, you're with complete focus, you're driving. Even if you're going on 120, 180 speed also, still nothing will happen. But the moment you get distracted, you're losing the focus, you're losing the control over the steering, accidental. Same thing with our mind. The moment we are in full control of our mind, somebody is saying something, okay, they are not telling me. I am the soul. I am not this body. Whatever is they are saying doesn't matter. Everything, it should not stick to us. It gets stuck to us and that tape recorder goes on in our mind. That shouldn't happen. That is happening to us. That's the reality, right? So this eightfold yoga is needed to control the mind. So when we are nourishing this hatred in our mind, naturally negative thoughts will keep coming. And what will it do? It will damage. It will do more damage to us than we can think of. Problem is, what happens? People, they do not even realize that they have uncontrolled mind. We have to first know, right? We have to accept this is happening to us. We don't accept. We don't even realize. We never understand that we have an uncontrolled mind. And that is why it is causing us so much harm. We don't know that. So we all know that people who had, everything good is happening, everything favorable is happening to them. But still, there are people who have got lot of wealth, lot of fame, like movie actors you can see. They are so sad. They are so lonely. They have nothing. They are thinking of committing suicide. Why? Because their mind is being tormented all the time. They're comparing themselves to others. Their mind is going on like tape recorder. Oh, so and so actor got so and so much money. Even the people who are working in banks and and offices and all. The moment you're comparing with the other person, I have done this much work, she has not even done that much work. Why she is being given so much importance? The mind is tormenting so much non-stop, incessantly. Then what does it end up with? It end up with depression, end up with hatred, end up with a lot of tension, lot of anxiety, lot of stress, and we that vibration, it flows down wherever you go. Like, if somebody accidentally throws a stone at you, you may feel hurt for a moment because it's physical, right? Next day we would have even forgotten, oh, some little stain, scratch will be there, and it's okay, fine, we can put a plaster and gone. But if someone says something very bad to you, very unpleasant, you will not forget. For years, you may stop talking to that person. You will stop talking. If that person is walking, you will go the other way. Prahlad Maharaj told his father very clearly, you think you have enemies somewhere outside? No, father, the enemy is within your mind. It is inside you. The same mind can become our friend. We have to bring it under control. Simple thing. So how to bring it under control? Lord Krishna says, through spiritual practice. That's what Lord Krishna is telling us. So, and this was Lord Krishna has very nicely enlightened Arjun that what harm can the mind do and how friendly can the mind be also there, right? How much beneficial our mind can be to us. So next verse is what Lord Krishna is going to do, He is going to describe more symptoms of a person who is in that elevated stage, Yoga Rudha stage. He is going to tell us all that. And he's also telling us, like, how important it is to understand those symptoms. And he's trying to lure us, trying to make us, greedy to become that. So let's see the 6 enemies of the mind. These are the 6 enemies. We get Kam, Krodha, Lobha, Mad, Matsarya, Moha also. The Kama, Krodha, Moha, Lobha, Mad, Matsarya. These are the 6 enemies, and we have to stay away from this. So let's see the symptoms of one who is in Yoga Rudha stage. 7 o'clock. So, okay. So maybe I thought I will cover 9 shlokas at least minimum. I will continue tomorrow. I've done 6, right? Okay. I'll continue tomorrow with that one.